Greetings everyone, this is Bilal the Sega Gamer, and this is not no Let's Play. This is just a little rant on Sega that I wanted to do because as of lately, I heard that Sega's president admitted that Sega has been not the same since the early 2000s. Now, what are my 2 cents on this? Well, this rant is going to be pretty long, so grab your popcorn and your drink of choice. This is my little rant on the Sonic fanbase and Sega as a whole. Now, when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog, when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog and their fanbase, the Sonic fanbase is pretty much the loudest vocal bunch you have ever heard in gaming. They rant on every nitpick and detail on modern Sonic, and not only that, they believe their own styles of Sonic when it comes to the platforming genre and the whole franchise, of course. Now, these groups are the classicists, who believe that Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3, and Knuckles are the best, and still enjoy that roaring, fast-paced 2D platforming action like they were back in the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive days since 1994. Then there are the Dreamcastians, who believe that Sonic Adventure 1, 2 Heroes are the best, and they have some toleration over, let's say, the Dark Age Sonic, but their preferences over newer and older games are a little lacklustering, and they do believe that style of point A to point B 3D platforming gameplay suits Sonic a hell of a lot better with big open-ended areas, hub worlds, exploration, and different variations of the gameplay, such as treasure hunting and mech shooting, of course. Then there are the modernists, who really gets a kick out of the Sonic's recent releases, such as Sonic Unleashed, all the way up to Sonic Lost World, and other titles as Colors, All-Stars Racing, and many more since 2008. Oh yeah, and plus I don't want to forget, then there are the non-fans, who are pretty much clueless what Sonic are, and that are just like classicists, are very ambivalent about Sonic, or they just don't give 2 cents about Sonic whatsoever, seeing how they're just not big fans of the Hedgehog, or they just barely remember Sonic due to their preference of nostalgia, such as the overrated Sonic 2 and Sonic Adventure 2, of course. Now, one of my preferences, I consider myself a neon classicist. I still prefer the 2D, I consider myself a neon classicist. I still prefer the 2D Sonic games from Sonic 1 all the way up to 3 and Knuckles, and maybe some of the classic spin-offs. Sorry, I need a drink of water. This rant may be long, so grab your popcorn and your favorite drinks of choice. But I still say, of course, there are a couple of good 3D titles, such as Adventure, Heroes, and Sonic Generations. I fucking love Sonic Generations. And no, it's not because of classic Sonic. I think the gameplay meshes well when it comes to the boost of formula type of style Sonic with the 3D exploration, open-ended, non-linear areas from the Adventure games and Sonic Heroes, of course.
Choose your track.
Now, my rant about Sonic is that these fan bases rant on the most trivial, consequential thing, whether it's Sonic's eye color, spines, character design, or voice as a whole. Hell, there are some classicists and non-fans who are arguing which design of Sonic is better, Greg Martin's design or Toei's animation design. To which I cannot explain. They both look good and they're both pretty badass. To me, Sonic's best voice actor is pretty much Ryan Drummond, and he's right up there, right next to Jalea White, and his best design is still his classic design. I don't know if it's due to nostalgia, but I still say Sonic has the best design ever, especially in Sonic CD and 3 and Knuckles. If you play those games have the best, of course, character design, animation, and facial expressions I have ever seen in a 2D platformer. But that's not the point. My point is that the Sonic fan base is just how should I say it? It's just some sort of bratty kid that you want to give ice cream to, but instead you want to have a change of dessert, or want to make him eat his vegetables. I'm more of a mixed opinion guy. I agree with some reviewers and some, let's say, and some fans on open-ended fans like the Great Clement, some call me Johnny, and Exxon Paradox Gamer. And hey, I'm not the only one who doesn't like Sonic 2 that much. Seriously, that game may be good, but it gets boring near the end. If you haven't, if you want to know why, either A, go see my Let's Play, or B, watch Exxon Paradox review on Sonic 2. I'll put a link in the description, because let's face it, Sonic 2 is horribly flawed. Hold on, I need some water. It is just horribly flawed. Now when it comes to the Sonic fan base, one thing I gotta question: will Sega just give the Sonic the Hedgehog series a break and focus on other franchises? I mean, don't get me wrong, Sonic is good, but but it really busts my boil is that when we shout out the games that we want for Sega to re-release, basically, yeah, Sega's not hearing a word on what we want in, let's say, in their financial. They're losing financial money, so PC releases would be fine. Heck, there's even a tweet of Atashi Iizuka saying that if they wanted more Sega games on the PC, that they're willing to try. Like after this race, I'm going to show you a Sega game I really want them to re-release. But I'll mention a few classics like the Landstalker series, the Pop Mail series, Dynamite Heady, what else? Burning Rangers, Streets of Rage. Maybe give Golden Axe another try if they get Platinum Games to do it with the whole medieval setting, of course. Yeah, the list just goes on. Maybe give the Shepin series a try. That was on the Sega CD. Most definitely Keo's Flying Delivery Service and Wonder Dog. I mean, we haven't seen those games since the Sega CD days. And oh my god, Sega just has a list of franchises and they don't know what to do with their franchises. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Sonic. It's just that Sonic has been going through shit lately. And yeah. I can understand franchises like Space Channel 5 never making a comeback, nor Samba de Amigo, but let's face it, Michael Jackson is deceased, and rhythm-based games are pretty much dead, of course. But if you want to make another platformer game, you could use Pop from L, or you could make another Bug, Clockwork Knight re-release. Bug, Clockwork Knight re-release, or what else? Dynamite Headdy, or Alex Kidd! We haven't saw an Alex Kidd game, or hell, Billy Hatcher. You can make a 3D platforming Alex Kidd game, make it like similar to Mario 64, and bam! Everybody wins! Everybody wins. You know Sega's good with platformers. Or hell, I wouldn't mind maybe seeing a crossover with the Streets of Rage series with the Dynamite Cop series. Just saying. Or the Dynamite Cop series with the Shenmue series, seeing how both games have, let's say, quick time events or better yet, instead of Dynamite Cop, how about Shenmue and the Yakuza series? Both games have beat 'em up style gameplay, quick time events, and complex stories. But Yakuza is more insane and out there, and Shenmue is pretty much more complex and story driven, and it has the kindred to do with more adventure games. Now before I say the Sega game, I really want them to re-release. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I just had to go get a cup of water, and basically, yeah. And not only, maybe we could see another Monster World, made by World Forward, made by Wave Forward, I meant to say. I mean, we haven't saw another Monster World game since 1994, and hell, maybe a crossover. But the game I definitely want to see make a comeback and have a re-release is basically, well, this stage right over here.
Choose your difficult C-class.
Skies of Arcadia. Now, I really want to play this game because for two reasons. Well, A, the gameplay actually, well, I was gonna say doesn't suck, but nah, I don't want to make an obvious joke. The gameplay is actually innovative, but yet again, being complex, streamlined, and simple to master. Well, if you haven't seen that gameplay, it's basically a turn-based RPG, but it borrows a lot of elements to another Sega franchise, Panzer Dragoon, Orita, which both games qualify by using a special type of meter to strike the attack when the opening is right. Unlike most turn-based RPGs, where it's just hit the enemy, use the occasional magic, it gets very boring. At least Sega knew when it comes to these RPGs, such as the Panzer Dragoon games and of course Skies of Arcadia, they knew to add a little innovation, while yet again keeping the core gameplay interesting. They started to test this out with Panzer Dragoon Saga, because let's face it, it's an on-rails game, but it has a fuck ton of RPG elements, and the gameplay is also perfect because you get to attack enemies from any single direction, figure out their weak points by color and saturation, and of course, both series, of course, has special moves, or case in Panzer Dragoon gameplay, Berserk Attack. This may make the game easier, but it works out also well when you strategize, especially on those tough bosses like Daimon the Dragon, and of course the Executioner the Executioner in Skies of Arcadia, of course. Now, these games has been not Now, these two games have not re-released for a while. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing a crossover, or heck, or at least if Nintendo would have put their hat in the bucket have a Skies of Arcadia and Skyward Swords crossover. Now, imagine that. That would be badass. Saving the world from a post-apocalyptic war and rescuing goddesses. That would be the most amazing thing ever. But it would be nice if Sega would re-release the game. I'm just saying. Like, what it would have hurt just porting the Dreamcast version, adding the GameCube features, and hold on, my head is sweating. Adding the GameCube features, and of course, put it on PC for like $30, and on modern consoles for like $20. Because have you seen the eBay prices lately on Skies of Arcadia and Panzer Dragoon Saga? Those games are expensive as hell. Now, I am trying to get the $60 game, but let's face it, let's just say the living situation I've been going through, and not only that, I'm trying to focus on moving out. Really can't straight away on me trying to buy the game. So I'm just saying, Sega, if you want to make like quick money, and heck, it's a hell of a lot better and more complex and more in-depth and more memorable than what Final Fantasy would do in any lifespan, of course. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing a crossover game. And what about your working design games? The working design games are amazing as well too, like Albert Odyssey, Dragon Force, Mysteria, and of course Magic Knight Grey Earth, which came out in 1998. I know working designs ain't, let's say, I know working designs isn't around anymore, and then they went multi-plat, but it would be nice to re-release at least the Lunar games. That game hasn't re-released on PlayStation consoles. If you could release the original Sega CD game on, let's say, on the PC, that would be great. I need some water. And of course, Albert Odyssey and Mysteria and Dragon Force. That was on the Sega Saturn. Hell, you could get Taxman and Stealth to work on a Popful Mail re-release and add some features that weren't in the original game, like maybe some of the multi-plat features that were in Japan. Because even though that game was multi-plat in Japan, it was actually published by you guys, Sega, in America. And it really gets on my nerves, of course. Because Sega used to be so good back in the 90s. Now, I do have Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega Saturn. But you know what? I had to burn the game because I'm not paying $500 for this game. And the game so far, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, Skies and the Panzer series is probably one of the best RPGs / on rails series you will ever play. And if you haven't played those games before, do so, because those games are amazing. Complex stories, memorable characters, and yeah, complex stories, memorable characters, actual villains that are memorable, and overall around have that epic feeling. And heck, I wouldn't mind Nintendo drawing her hat if they want to add The Legend of Zelda Skyward. If they want to add Skyward Sword as, let's say, a crossover game. Now let's talk about the other Sega franchises. Speaking of Zelda, maybe bring back the Landstalker series. Like, I know that series ain't popular, but hey, at least, you know, it did something innovative. It added, you know, the combination between the action-adventure gameplay of the puzzle elements with some needed isometric platforming elements. Not as big, let's say, some isometric platform elements. Not as big than, let's say, the sequel, Dark Savior, 'cause that was like almost a full-on 3D platformer. But the original Landstalker does have some puzzles that were somewhat ripped out of course. That were ripped out of course, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And heck, even the character Nigel sort of resembles Link. And heck, and at least he did something new in that game by having Nigel being a treasure hunter and not caring too much about princesses. Sort of like another Sega franchise, I know. Bottom line, Sega, you really gotta re-release some of your games. I mean, if you look at my Tumblr and my DeviantArt page, besides the sexual woman, you should know that I'm a real big fan of Sega and Capcom. Oh yeah, you too, Capcom. You rely too much on Street Fighter. Granted, you do re-release some of your older IPs like Strider, but that ain't gonna help it. Bottom line, Sega. You really gotta get your shit together. Because I used to love this company back in the day. Now they suck. I know. What else Sega franchise they could revive? Maybe a new Dynamite Heady and Rise Star. Again, if you're looking for another platformer series, there you go. They're fun, quirky, fast-paced, and quick like the Sonic games. Maybe another game from your treasure library, such as Gunstar Heroes. If you can't at least make a new one, you could at least re-release the old one, or at least the GBA one on, or at least the Hold on, I need this order. Or at least the GBA one, or at least the GBA one that came out in 2005 on the Virtual Console. At least you're making money. Heck, they released Car Battle Joe, which is pretty much a sequel to Vampala that I think Sega made, but it was mostly made by Ancient and Overworks, which is again another Sega developer who made the Skies of Arcadia series, Streets of Rage, and of course the Beyond Oasis series. Oh yeah, if you can't make a 3D Landstalker game, a full-on 3D Landstalker game, like another one, like make it more akin to a Legend of Zelda 3D action adventure game than just an ordinary RPG, of course. Then you can make another Beyond Oasis game. Again, it was like Link to the Past, but instead of taking place in medieval times, it takes place in Arabian times, of course. Or hell, Cynthia Crusader, which is like a mixture between Arabia and medieval times, of course. I'm just saying, Sega. Like, you gotta get your shit together. Of course. Now, this rant may not be long because I'm thinking about doing a part 2. But not only that, I'm planning to do maybe a little update, of course. Hell, maybe you could re-release Nights in... Hell, maybe you can make another Nights into Dreams gameplay. Everybody is getting into that game. Not only that, you did re-release the original game. So, that gameplay style could work. But yet again, you could just make it like a simple arcade score attack. And as for fighters, I know you still got Virtual Fighter. But hey, maybe you could bring back Fighting Vipers or hell, Internal Chance. Just don't make it like the new Killer Instinct game where it's like a ripoff of Mortal Kombat. Because nobody doesn't want that shit in their games. Nobody. In their games, of course. I'm just saying, Sega, you used to make the best. I'm just saying, Sega, the list goes on with your franchises. And heck, when I ever hear about a Sega game that I have not heard before or I haven't played, I usually go on the internet and do my research. And there are so many franchises. Heck, you could re-release Burning Rangers. Yeah, that game is a third-person shooter. Yeah, sure, it's maybe a flaw, maybe somewhat flawed and outdated due to the platforming, due to the 3D platforming. But the 3D-esque for its time, third-person shooter type gameplay, and of course, how should I say it? How should I say it? The third-person shooter gameplay still holds up well, and the story is quite complex, even though it can be ridiculous sometimes. But hey, you're precious Sonic Adventure 2 fans. Hey, you want to know where the colony were exploding? Hey, you want to know where the whole let's stop with the cease colony from a cyborg virus came from? It came from this game, the track that I'm racing on, of course. It came from this game. Besides Mega Man X4, of course. And heck, I wouldn't mind you guys doing like maybe another Alicia Dragoon. I mean, we need more games with female protagonists. Besides another Pop Mel and Burning Rangers with Tillis, and of course Monster World 4, we can have another Alicia Dragoon, maybe. I'm just saying. I mean, I like Sonic, but still, like, in my opinion, Sonic needs a hell time. Sonic needs high time to freaking, let's say, to relax. I'll probably do a part 2 of this rant, but I don't want to keep you guys long. Now, as my main channel, I was thinking about doing Let's Plays again. Maybe a certain platformer on the Sega CD that has been not given love or attention to. And thank God this game is somewhat relatively short. Not only that, I was planning to do a certain Robot's 20th anniversary Let's Play, a redo, because my first Let's Play of that game didn't serve any justice. Not only that, I am planning to do a redo of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but don't expect it to be funny or hilariously entertaining. But if you're willing to watch it Drew on Drew, then yeah, you pretty much get to just how I love that game. When I plan to do Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I'm planning to do it off. I need some water. I'm planning to do the Sonic 3 complete. I'm planning to do the Sonic 3 complete version, which is pretty much some Sonic fan actually hacked into the game and made it what the game's supposed to be in the final build of the beta. So yeah, Don't worry, it's still the same game, but there are some improvements that the hacker Tittles actually developed for. I'm just saying, Sega, like, I like you, but still. The only good thing that Sega has done is let Yu Suzuki finish developing Shenmue 3, and the creator, Greg Johnson, is actually making a new Toe Jam and Earl game for the PC. Yeah, I wish it was on modern consoles, but hey, as of recently, Sega is going towards the PC market, so eventually, eventually when I move out of my house, I do gotta go buy me a computer and eventually stuff for my gaming PC. I'm not gonna play on a dinky ass laptop, of course, because let's face it, laptops are just imitations what the PC could do. So eventually, I was planning to get, let's say, a PC with a bunch of RAM data, a graphics card, and play the new Toe Jam and Earl game and the new Shenmue, seeing how they're just going to be on PC, of course.
Choose your track.
Bottom line, I really wish Sega would just make something new out of their franchises. And it really just pet peeves. Hell, you could even re-release Space Harrier and stuff like that.
Single race. Choose your track.
Well, anyway,
Outrun Bay.
like, for the update, not only that,
Choose your track.
not only that, how should I say it? In November,
Choose your C-Class.
okay, near the end of October, I'm planning to do another Halloween Let's Play. So, you know, it's that time of the year again. Woo! But I may not do the whole entire series. It's House of the Dead, by the way. I may not do the whole entire series. I'll probably just do one game. Or I may just end up doing Mr. Bones if I could burn that game off the internet for the Sega Saturn and pretty much play that game until I get a 2D controller. If it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Some water.
Get ready.
And somewhere in November, I was thinking of doing Knight's Journey of Dreams. I was gonna do it on its 19th anniversary, but during that time, I was at a job training class, and I was trying to look for a job during that time, so look forward to that. Well, anyway, this rant ain't that long, though. I'll probably talk a little bit brief about Sega and their companies. Let's face it, Sega really needs to rely on other companies other than just Sonic Team. In Sonic Team, you gotta make other games besides Sonic. Granted, Sega did had crappy ass developers back in early to mid 90s. One of them is True Motion Video, Cold Monkeys, and Digital Pictures, of course. But Digital Pictures only had a couple of gems like Night Trap, Surgical Strike, Tomcat Alley, and Midnight Raiders for one. But other than that, most of their games are usually hit or miss. That's the only bad Sega developer I don't like, because they came out during the time when they're trying to make games for the Sega CD. But other developers such as Smilebit, Overworks, Agent, hold on, get some water. Victor Entertainment. What else? Victor Entertainment and the highly popular Treasure, who made all those kick-ass platformers back in the who made all those kick-ass platformers and beat-em-ups back in the 90s all the way up to the early 2000s. Now the only games they make are fighting games that have to do with the Bleach series. Will I get those games? No. Not only that, Sega used to make some damn good licensing games, such as games for Nickelodeon, such as the Ren and Stimpy game, the Mickey Mouse game for Disney, well, besides Capcom, and many other TV show-based games that were good during the time. But now, Sega is just titled for making... Hold on, my mouth is about to dry. Now, Sega is just making crappy-ass Marvel games, what Activision should have done, and of course, crappy-ass movie licensing games like The Golden Compass. And those games suck ass. But yet again, those games came out in the mid-2000s, so I can't really complain. And let's face it, during the mid-00s, Sega was going down the gutter. I mean, it's already bad enough they fuck up Sonic the Hedgehog, but the new Golden Axe was crappy. The only good games that came out during the time of modern Sega is, again, the Yakuza series, and of course, Vampirical Chronicles. Of course. Hell, again, I wouldn't mind Sega if they do a crossover between Vampirical Gun with PN03 with Capcom's PN03. Bottom line, Sega, you just gotta make some good games again. If you don't, then you're gonna lose money. Give Nintendo credit. At least when they try to do something new, everybody either loves it or the advice of it. But when it comes to Sega, they rip the shreds out of the games, especially when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog. Oi. And even when Nintendo does something different, everybody loves it. But when Sega does something different, everybody just pans it and thinks it's the worst game in the world. But, yeah. They think it's like the worst game of the world. Gotta give Nintendo credit. They're family friendly, they're more safe, and they actually care about their franchises. Yeah, granted, Nintendo's, let's say, Nintendo's didn't do so well this year E3, but maybe they got an excuse. Just like Shigeru Miyamoto say, a rush game is a bad developed game. And trust me, if you show Shigeru Miyamoto to Sonic 06, he'll be laughing his ass off. Pan what you want about the Legend of Zelda and Mario series, doing the same crap over and over again, and the only innovation of Nintendo they got is the Kirby series. But you know what? Gotta give Nintendo credit. The Wii U is selling better. I'd rather have that console than the PS4 and PlayStation, and than the PS4 and Xbox One any day. The only Xbox consoles I like is the original and 360. That's pretty much about it. That's pretty much about it. Ay. Well, I don't want to cause this rant to be too long. Stay tuned, because I have lots of plans for this channel.
Congratulations, first place.